very, very open to sharing how she does it. She wants other people to do the same. And there's lots on her social media, which I recommend watching. So I'm very excited for her to be here.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Andre. And with that, we will bring Jill in. Just take a second. Hi, Jill. Welcome to Leap In.
Hi, how are you?
We're very good. We're very good. Very happy to have you with us this morning.
I'm happy to be here.
We just gave you a nice welcome. So everybody, Andre as well, gave you a nice welcome. So just everybody give Jill a nice wave, a nice hello.
Okay, so everyone already knows who I am. Okay.
They do, yeah. I've given the full story from what you sent over. But I always like our speakers to kind of, give your take on it, who you are and what's going on. And yeah, welcome.
So do you want me to introduce myself again, or you guys are good?
It's totally up to you. If you need any help with the Zoom controls, anything like that, just let me know. I know you said you have a presentation you want to share. You should have control, but if there's any technical difficulties, let me know. But the floor is yours. So take over as you like.
Okay, so just so everyone knows, I am very casual. You are allowed to interrupt me with questions. That is totally okay. And I try to make it so that, of course, I've come prepared with slides and what I want to talk about with you. But if there's something that you want to focus on a little bit more specifically, or anything like that, just let me know. Just unmute yourselves and go ahead and ask. That's totally fine with me. It won't mess me up or anything. And I'm going to start with the slides first, and then I actually went through those of you who had websites so that we can kind of audit them together so that you can see how you can actually implement these copy tips for yourselves, if that sounds good. So I can ask for volunteers first, or I can just work through the list when we get to that point. And just my screen.
Awesome. I warned them all that that there was going to be an interactive component, so I'm hoping that they're all prepared.
If you don't want me to look at yours in front of everyone, that's okay too. You can say, but I did come with some notes for everyone too, so we can improve. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen first. Okay, so today we are talking about writing website copy, or just copy in general that actually converts. And my process of writing copy actually starts with your brand strategy, because you can't write copy that is actually going to target your ideal customers and convert them into paying customers from readers unless you have a really clear understanding of what your messaging is and what you want to be known for. So does anyone actually know what the definition of a brand is? Has anyone taught that to you yet?
It's the, I'm gonna guess that's the, I have an overall understanding of it. It's the official look and feel of your company.
Kind of, yeah, so it includes that. The brand is actually the perception people have of your business. So your look and feel and your voice and all of your messaging will shape that perception, but it's less about you and more about what they think about you. So you can change what people think about you by writing compelling copy and coming up with great content and good visuals, and it all kind of comes together. The next question I have is just to kind of see where you guys are at, is if you know what the difference between copy and content are, because I know that they're used interchangeably on the internet and they shouldn't be. No one had, I guess I went to the slide already, but so the copy is direct and persuasive with the intent to sell, and every single word is chosen very, very, very carefully. That is why copy costs a lot more than content if you're going to outsource it. It's meant to target the emotions of the reader, showcasing the results of purchasing, really giving them that experience of working with you. Is anyone familiar with Mad Men?
Definitely.
Yeah, okay, so Don Draper writes copy. So anything that is advertising, now when you see that on the internet, that could be your Facebook ads, that's your website copy, any email marketing that you have going out. Some social media captions, if they're like specifically meant to launch something or drive a sale. On the other hand, content is just an engagement tool used to attract, educate, or inspire potential customers, because you want to be building that relationship with them before you introduce the copy to really drive that action to make the sale. So that is why content is really focused on the free value to generate traffic. So this would be your educational Instagram posts or your blogs or video scripts if you have YouTube content going out. All those things that are meant to like just be helpful for them and get to know you. Does everyone get where I'm going with this? Okay, so when we're writing, we need to know what piece of writing we are actually making. And that will make it a lot easier, because if you know I'm sitting down to write copy right now, you know what your goal is when you're writing, versus if you're going to write a blog post, you don't want to make it all about you and how they should buy from you and all of that. You want to be leading with that value first and trying to become friends with them, essentially. Because business is all just about building relationships. Okay, so the next thing, when we are writing copy and when you're trying to make sales online, you need to know why people buy online. And like I said, business is all just about building relationships with people. And if you even think about yourself, like you buy from the brands usually that you know, like, and trust. And this is true whether you're a personal brand or if it's just like a larger company, like an agency. Like we all know McDonald's and we'll go buy from them because we know them. We trust that the burger is going to be the exact same every single time, and we like it. So if you want to do that for yourself, if you want to build that know, like, and trust aspect so that people will start to buy from you, then you need to tell stories, be really consistent, and draw similarities between the two of you, with the two of you being you, the business, and your customers. So with stories, this is really important because people just really connect to stories. When you, for example, post a picture of an ice cream cone on Instagram and you just put the flavor of it, it probably won't get as many likes as if you post a picture of your ice cream cone and you say maybe where you went and why it was good and what you did that day, and you just kind of expand and you tell that story so people can like get to know you. And you can do this in your copy as well, less so in website copy. It has to be kind of, because it needs to be more concise, but it is a huge component when you're writing an email sequence. For example, if you have a funnel going to your paid offers from when they sign up onto your newsletter, storytelling would be a huge aspect of that, even though it's still writing copy. And then people start to recognize your story. Like people start to remember. My whole story around my brand is that when I first started, I was paid $25 to write 500 words, and now my packages are like thousands of dollars. So I tell that story to other business owners to show them that they can learn how to sell their own services and their own products as well. So people they remember that story from me. The next thing is consistency. So if you think about this, we don't often like when businesses just show up and start selling to us. We kind of get turned off by that because they haven't really done the work to lay the foundations first. So if you want to sell to people online, you need to consistently show up for them online, and showing up for them in a way that's not super salesy at first. And this is how you make it so that overall your brand is just helping people rather than coming across as really salesy and pushy. So this would be making sure that you stick to a consistent blog schedule if that's what you want to do, or a consistent social media schedule if that's what you want to do. And consistent doesn't have to be like everyday extreme. It's just choosing a schedule that works for you and sticking with it and making sure that your messaging is cohesive across the board so that people know what to expect from you, so then they feel like they actually know you. And then finally is the similarities. So people are, like, the psychology of it, people are a little bit selfish, and they like to, they pick up on things that are similar to them. So if you can find similarities between your brand and yourself and your ideal customers, then they will really like that and feel like they're more connected with you. So an example of this would be on my website, about page, I put a sentence that says, I'm obviously a Gemini, but my husband says I need to stop using my star sign as an excuse. And I'm not like huge into astrology or like all the star signs and stuff like that, but he does say that, like it's true. It's not like my favorite thing. I don't go over my horoscope all the time, but I know that my ideal client does. So that sentence has been specifically mentioned in my discovery calls, like very often since putting that sentence in, because they resonate with that. They'll either say, oh, like I'm a Gemini too, or oh, like I'm this sign. Like they bring it up in our conversations, or they say their husbands say the exact same thing, because my ideal client, of course, there's more to it than just this person, but they're in their 30 to 40 range and they're into personal development and wellness and all of that. So the star signs kind of come into it. So when you know your ideal client, then you can write directly to them, for them, and pick up on those similarities between you and them, and then just really focus on those. And then the last thing along here that I kind of touched on it is that it's not about you when you are in business, and it's not about you when you are trying to write copy for your website. It's about what your readers need to know to make them want to buy from you. So when you sit down to write your about page, you don't want to start writing your life story or a huge long bio about you. Even that page will be more so about them and what they need to know to build credibility, to show them that you're the best person for the job, to show them what it's like working with you, and to really draw on all those similarities. And that's true for copy across the board. If that's the one thing that you remember today, that's not about you. Does anyone have any questions yet?
I'm okay.
Good.
Anybody at all?
I know there was just a lot there. So, and some people kind of get caught up on this part of being really selective of what you put out there, because we think that when we become businesses, we have to like put a lot of ourselves into it, but you can separate what is for you personally and what is you for your business. And that's how you start to shape the perception of your brand. So like, especially as a personal brand, like people think they know everything about me because of everything I put out, but they actually only know this fraction that I've decided aligns with my brand because of what I want my target clients to think of me.
Actually, Jill, a really good example that I like to use is that my dad says the best way to build a business, because he's a builder, is like building a house. You can't just show up with a house for the client. You have to lay down the foundations. You have to, lay the concrete, go through interior design, exterior. Everything's personalized for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really great analogy. And if you just come up and you try to sell them the house, they're not going to like that. People kind of push away from that, especially now when there's just so much content online and we're being sold to all the time. You really have to do the work first.
I think what you just mentioned too, also about deciding on how much you reveal about yourself. I know I've had a few people ask me that in the last many months of how much myself do I have to be revealing, and I think I don't know. There's almost like this pressure, I think, because people are constantly comparing themselves to other brands and other personal brands where they think that is everything they're seeing. So they instantly do assume that, oh, well, I should be telling my whole story. But I like that you mentioned that. I really like that, you tell people it's their choice. It's up to you. And that's what I try to do.
It's actually like a huge mindset shift that a lot of people get stuck on. Something that really helps to decide what is on brand and what isn't is actually come up with your categories. So I make a chart for all of my clients, and there's educational, inspirational, entertaining at the top, and then promotional. And then within that, I only make it so there's about 20 boxes, and it has to all kind of align. All of these subtopics have to all align within 3 to 5 categories, because people who are watching you on the outside can't actually understand the whole person from what they see online. So if you can keep it to 3 to 5 categories with those like subtopics underneath, then you'll know that you're being really consistent and that it's really clear for everyone. I always give the example that because I want to attract these women who are business owners and who are into the personal development, more like wellness kind of stuff. I do work with other people, like I have worked with mining and the hospital and engineers and all of that stuff, but I mostly attract that type. I also, to do that, I share lots of pictures of like my plants in my office or my garden outside, or that I'm going to work out, but I don't share that on Friday nights I'm playing like Call of Duty with my husband because that's not on brand. So you can decide which things don't make the cut, and then it makes it feel a lot easier when you're deciding what to write about as well, because you don't have the pressure to try to summarize yourself on your website. It's just the pieces that they need to know.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill.
Okay, so the next one is writing tips. So I know that when we are in school, we are taught to write a certain way, and when you are writing marketing materials for your business, you need to forget absolutely everything you need to know about school, except for the grammar. Grammar is still important, but in school, we're taught to like double space between sentences and use really long sentences and like speak in this really omniscient narrative voice, and it has to be proper, and we want to have word counts that are really long so that we're hitting that like 10-page essay, and long paragraphs, all of that. Just forget all of that. At copy, even if it is conversational, it is still professional if your big picture is professional. So it's okay to use like don't instead of do not. And it's okay to use slang if your brand is allowed to use slang. Like you get to come up with a style guide for your brand, but it should be conversational and it should be speaking directly to your target clients. So that means using I or we as the business and you as them. So your website copy won't be, mine wouldn't be like Jill Wise is a copywriter and I say, hey, I'm a copywriter, my name is Jill and I can help you do this. And then it becomes a lot more, it like helps build that relationship. They feel closer to you and it's like a whole like psychology thing around it. So when you're writing for your website, make sure you're speaking directly to them. Decide if you are a we or an I, which we can go over if anyone has questions about that. You want to make sure that everything is broken into really short, digestible paragraphs. And a paragraph could be a sentence or two when you're writing for the web. Like it doesn't have to be full paragraphs. You want it to be varying sentence lengths to get people really interested. So you can put a short sentence next to a long sentence. And this is getting kind of into the nitty gritty, but it just shows you that you have a lot of flexibility and there's room to be creative with what you're writing, and you don't have to try to stay in that academic sounding box anymore, as long as your spelling and your grammar is good. Does anyone have any questions about the I versus we personality kind of aspect of this? Like, do you guys know if your business is an I or a we?
Anybody?
Hi, Jill. My name is Christine. I am in the industry that is a personal brand, so it's not a product. So I understand how important it is to put myself up there so people have a personal touch, a personal feeling to connect with me. I used to be like, I'm a very introvert. I don't like to be up there, but I learned that it's very important because really people like need to see who you are before they can trust you. Mm-hmm. So I'm learning to be more assertive and branding the company as you speak, as you mentioned before. So I think for me, my experience is like we really have to like fake it before you make it, fake it till you make it. And then you really like, even like yesterday we were doing a pitch, right? So I was really nervous, but before I speak, I have to fake it. And then after I'm done, like, oh my God, right? So yeah. I think that mentality may help the rest of the entrepreneurs, but that's just my 2 cents.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely fake it till you make it. Like everybody, I get comments all the time, especially on Instagram, that people say that I'm really confident. And it's funny because it's taken years to get to here. And I still have to do my stories like 3 times over to try to get it right. And it just comes from practice and realizing that you are not doing this because of like you. Like, I show up every day because I genuinely want to help people. And if I'm not confident, then I'm not going to be able to help people. And then it's like, what's the point of even showing up? So if you can take yourself out of it and your emotions out of it, and instead think of the people that you're trying to serve, then it helps with that whole confidence aspect. Does anyone know if they're an I or a we though? I know that sometimes people get stuck on this. So that's why I'm like trying to make sure that you guys know, because it gets kind of confusing for clients if you are writing as a we on your website, for example, but you are actually an I. Or if you're writing as I, but you maybe don't even introduce yourself, or just trying to be consistent with that brand personality.
I think I can go. No, actually, go. You go, Shirley.
Sorry. I have a question about that, or I'm just wondering, like, sometimes I'll say I, or sometimes I'll say we, and I actually am confused because I've heard that it's better to have, when you have a website, to be like, okay, I'm going to pass you over to, you know, somebody who's helping me. It seems like you're a team of people, as opposed to like just one person doing everything. So what would you recommend with the I and the we? Like, I actually am confused on that myself.
Okay, so first of all, there's no like rule, there's no better way. People will not think less of you if you're just one person. It's kind of, again, a mindset thing when we go into business as solopreneurs, that we feel like we need to be bigger than we are, but we don't, because a lot of the times people are hiring us for our specific expertise. If they know and like and trust you, if you suddenly bring someone on who's going to be doing the work, you're going to have to clarify that somebody else is joining the team. So if you can just really lean into that, if you wanted to be an I, then you can be an I. But also, if you want to grow into a full company and you want to brand it as a we, then you can do that from the beginning, even if it's just you. But you would just want to clarify when it's the business we speaking versus I, the owner. So that would be, your whole website could be written as we, except for the part that is introducing you, and you would say, hey, I'm the owner, and then that part would be written as the I. And then you can carry that over to your social media and your emails by just clarifying every time it's you speaking as the owner versus you speaking as the business. So you would like sign off emails saying that it's like writing it an I and then sign it off as the owner, or Instagram posts like say, hey, it's the owner here, or hi, like so-and-so here. And then can just continue on normally. You just need to be really clear with what voice is speaking. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then can you hear me? Sorry, I was trying to ask a question before also. When you were talking about your ideal client, why is your ideal client in the 30s and 40s and really healthy? Is that because that's how you write? Or because when I think of your business, I would think that you could really help everybody create copy, right? So then why is that your ideal client?
So there's a few reasons to this. And just because I've chosen an ideal client doesn't mean that I can't help other people. That's another misconception about when you're niching down. It just means that my copy is going to be most effective for that type of person. Because when you're writing to a 30-something woman, that's different than writing to a 30-something man. Just the nuances of the copy. So I actually have two ideal clients because I have two different aspects of my business. The one that is the 30 to 40 range, they are the ones who usually hire me for the done for you stuff. So that's more expensive, obviously, because I'm writing it for them. I'm working with them one-on-one, and they've usually been in business for a couple of years before they're ready to outsource to have someone else write their copy for them, because they have their business operations down, no problem, and they're not going to be pivoting anytime soon, and they know what they need. So that's when I work with them. As for what they're like, I honestly just took a tally of all of the people that I'd worked with over the years, and I found that this was the archetype that I normally attracted. So instead of just trying to blanket and reach everyone, I figured I would lean right into that type of person. And actually not, it doesn't even have to be like a specific industry if I'm describing that type of person. So for example, that person was a bookkeeper once. She's a photographer, she's a virtual designer, she's an event planner, a wedding planner. Like they're all very creative types. And then usually those creative types are also into that wellness kind of sphere. So it all just kind of comes together that way. But then I still do attract other people. And like sometimes my clients will be way younger. Like I just worked with someone who's early 20s because she was ready to invest, but she also had that, she was also very interested in like fitness and stuff. So it still kind of goes. It's just like how you speak to them. But then at the same time, like I said, I have had contracts with the St. Thomas Hospital or an engineering firm that's local here, or Go RV in Canada. Like it doesn't really it doesn't always have to fit, but I know that my marketing is going to be most effective for them. And it's that whole, you can catch more bees with honey kind of idea. Other people will still come into the net. And then the second ideal client is that person, but usually younger. And that one is usually less so niched into like that wellness, kind of into the astrology kind of stuff and all of that. They're the more general new entrepreneur, and those ones they always fit with my courses and like digital products that I have. So the way that I write to them is less so about it's more so about the early stages of building a business. That's where all of that kind of content and copy comes in, because I know that's what they're dealing with now, versus when I'm writing to the done for you clients that are more established, then I'm going to be talking to them about wanting to spend more time with their families and wanting to take vacations because they're at that stage where their business is established and they're looking at ways of outsourcing and refining and just making it better, versus the bootstrapping, figuring it out, wanting to know how I started from the beginning kind of copy. Is everyone following still?
That's so awesome. Thanks. It really clarified a lot.
Okay. It's weird when we're on webinars because I can't see everyone to like gauge your faces. Okay, so with copy,
I do have one question. So like I'm thinking about, like, for example, like if you're like because I have dog products, like dog collars. So I would say it's a we as like the products. But then like what if I was, say, at a like at a trade show or like doing something for my business, would you then put the I and share yourself in it once in a while just to show the owner?
Yeah, you should definitely show the owner, especially when you guys are new, because it's really hard for people to connect to, well, it's not really hard. It's a little bit harder for people to connect when there's no face there. Like we connect to that humanness. So definitely show yourself. Just make sure that it's clear that you are the owner speaking, and things you're doing at trade shows. If you guys are familiar with Maker Bars, so I know him, and I helped him write a little about him, kind of like postcard that he gives with his packages, or when he's like going to try to reach out to new people. So there's about the business, but then there's also a little blurb that's about him, so people can get to know him too. Yeah, so definitely clarify when it's to both of you, and don't be shy. You don't have to hide behind your products.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so when we are writing copy, you of course need to know who your ideal clients are and what they want and what they need. But when you want to convince someone to act, you need to start with the benefits, because when we are reading, like I said before, we're a little bit selfish as humans, and we want to know what's in it for me. What will life be like after this? Why should I even bother? And most importantly, how will it make me feel? Emotions, people buy because of emotions, not because of logic. So if you can really highlight what those benefits are, what the results are, and what the emotions of before and after are, then it will be, they'll just want it already. And then they go through the features next because they try to logic through their reason. So they'll be like, well, who are you to sell it to me? What's included in the package or in the product? Or like, why should I buy this product? Are there any fun bonuses? Like all of the extras. And if you think about it, like when you are going to buy something, especially if it costs a lot, you will know that you want it, but then you might go and talk to a spouse or a friend and you try to logic through it and they'll be like, oh, but what's included? They want to know the features at that stage. So if you can guide them through that process with your copy first, then there'll be less objections when they get to that call to the action at the end. Is this clear? So always lead with benefits and then follow up with the features. And that is kind of a format for basically every piece of copy if you're trying to make that sale. It doesn't have to be all in the same like actual email or on the same page, but just always start there and guide them through that buying process.
I think like we kind of drilled this down over the last couple of weeks about, you know, focus on the benefits, the feature, you know, we went through an FAB analysis. So I think, yeah, definitely. That's what I can say. People want to know what's in it for them. So
yeah, okay, got it. Okay, so let's talk about like specific website copy tips. There's a whole process to writing website copy, and it actually starts before you even get to the design or pick a template or anything like that. So when people work with me or work through my courses, we start with the brand strategy, make sure that's all down pat, we have a brand guideline, and then when we get the website, we start with going to create a competitor analysis. So you want to go through all of your competitors and analyze them without putting any of your own emotions into it. So don't compare yourself to them. Just really look at what they are doing and what you think is working well and not working well. And also don't look at them to copy them, but to find the holes that you can fill in with your own website. You can look at anywhere between 3 and 6 of these, but just make sure that you are not comparing and you are not putting your emotions into it. It's very analytical.
Hey Jill, quick question.
Yeah.
Because like I'm a graphic designer on the side as well. I'm a freelancer. So when most of my clients come to me when needing brand strategy, I was just wondering, do you also offer brand identity as well in your packages?
Like the visuals?
Yes.
No, but I partner with designers. So usually designers that I partner with, they always recommend that they come to me first. That's not the same for all copywriters because not all copywriters have the same branding skill set that I do. But when they work with me, we start with their mission, vision, values, value proposition, positioning, core messaging, brand voice, brand personality, tone of voice, style guide, all of that. And then we pass that off to the designers and they can use that to make the visual identity and make sure that it's actually aligned, because a challenge that lots of people have is putting words to what they want for their brand, and it makes it harder for designers when they can't describe what they want. So we make that aspect of the brand guide first and they pass that off to the designer, and then I work on the website outline and help with the wireframing, and then the brand designer will bring back the visuals to me. We put together a completed brand guide together, and then they put together the website.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering because like I do most of that myself, and I was just wondering if you had any design background because it is a major like task.
Oh yeah, it's huge. That's why I don't think that people need to specialize. I always question when people can do design and copy. So I'm like, have you been doing both for 10,000 hours? Can you really do it all, like to the level that you should be for people? So I totally get that it's a big aspect of it, but I just find it makes your job easier when they have that messaging nailed down first.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
Okay, so with a website, once you've done your competitor analysis, you want to make a website outline, and with that, you want to make sure that you are being really strategic with how you want your people to work through the website. So pretty websites are great, but pretty websites don't actually sell for you if you're not being strategic with where people should be clicking and what you are telling them and just how you're guiding them through all of that. It's part of the buying process as well. So in a website outline, you would say you want your homepage, your about page, maybe services, contact. Try to make everything really simple. So simplify your navigation and minimize the clicks. And this is where pairing up with a designer is really helpful too. It kind of depends on who you're working with, but making sure that you know that what their skill set is as well. Like I said, the designer that I normally work with, we do the wireframing kind of together, but that's because we've been working together for a while. And even though we're both separate entities, we collaborate a lot on this. So we make sure that everything is really streamlined and we have a really strong plan for the website before starting to write. And when you have the plan and you know exactly what you're going to put on every single page, then it's a lot easier to write something that will resonate with your ideal clients, and it avoids that whole challenge of writer's block as well.
Yeah, a funny example actually is the client that I worked with. I made a website for them, and they said, and I said, I think it's time to hire a copywriter. And they said, no, we can do all the copy ourselves. And I said, are you sure? And they said, yeah. And then weeks later, they came back and said, you know what, we need that connection now.
Yeah, that is, I'm always secondary. I think I told David this when I was talking to him earlier this week. I am used to being secondary. People always think that they can do it themselves, and then they realize it's not selling. So
Yeah.
that is totally okay, but it's an investment. So that's why people are worried about doing it or hiring right off the bat. But that's why, like, there are other options, like the course that I made, and there are templates you can buy online, and there are workarounds, especially when you're new. You have to do the work yourself, which is sometimes harder. But when they have their copy, it makes your job a lot easier to design. So next, so we want to map out the flow through their website, simplify the navigation, and remembering that it's not about you, it's about your reader, and especially in that above the fold section. And I'll show you guys when I look at your websites. A lot of us think that we should make above the fold kind of like a business card, like here's my name, here's what I do, but that is not going to attract people and keep them there. Another thing is that every single page should have one clear message and one call to action, except for your homepage, because it's just like the one that directs the traffic. If you have too many messages going on or too many things that you want people to do on a page, it gets really confusing. And I can talk about this when we get to like services pages as well. I think one of you was doing something that we could simplify. And then of course, always keep it simple. So there are two different schools of copy that I have noticed online, and it's following two different women. And the one is very flowery, and like, instead of saying that something is, she sells ketchup, she'll say that she sells sweet tomato sauce that she squeezed herself, and like just tell like this really long story instead of just saying ketchup. So there's that side, which I don't always agree with, because I think it's hard to do if you're not a very creative writer. It's hard to engage people. It could just be confusing and boring. Or there's the concise side that's more traditional, and it's just like, let's get to the point, let's tell the story, be really strategic and creative, but it's a lot simpler and it's a lot shorter, because we consume so much and we're all so busy that when it's really long and flowery, it's also hard to focus. So get to the point as quickly as possible, cut anything that is redundant or not necessary. It hurts to edit sometimes, but you have to do it. And then finally, you want to make sure that you're always showing on your website instead of telling. So if you say, I have great or I offer great customer service. Well, what does that mean? Like, everyone says that they offer great customer service. Instead, you would explain the process of working with you. You would make sure you have that social proof in there where people say you have great customer service. That's all comes into showing them what it's like instead of telling them. What time are we at? I think let's look at your websites now.
Okay.
And then if we have time, I have a bit more that we could talk about with content, but.
Yeah, we have a half an hour, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I think we should talk about the websites first, because I noticed some mistakes that you guys could like fix right away. And then if we go through all of those, we can talk about socials a little bit too.
Awesome.
Does anyone want to go first?
Sure, Aaron and I can go first. I just want to let you know that most of our content is just filler content for the moment until we actually hire someone like you.
Was yours Fast Track?
Yeah, that's Aaron and I, my partner.
Okay. Fast Track. Sorry, I'm looking over at my other screen. My notes are on my other screen here. Okay, so the first question I had for you guys was, I looked at your bios that David sent, And then I looked at your websites and I want to know why this one image that doesn't look like you.
Yeah, because we're actually in the process of meeting with one of the photographers that was a guest speaker, and we're in the process of getting photos. So that's just a filler fitter. That's just a filler image of Erin.
Okay, so
A running joke now.
okay, I panicked. I was like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? Why is that not them? That will not
Yeah,
feel us.
no.
Okay, that's cleared up. You have the right idea with the formatting, but of course you already know that you wanted to hire someone to do this. So that everybody else knows, the right idea with the formatting is that this headline, the newest way to deliver, it's kind of intriguing, right? It's not directly saying we are this. This part is, I would put this part lower down. You want to still make it about the reader because
Jill, do you want to switch your screen share so you can see the website?
Are we not on it?
I think it's still on. You're still sharing your PowerPoint screen.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
That's okay.
I was saying our website looks different.
Yeah, no, tech. Okay.
There we go.
There. As I was saying, headline is not directly about you, but it's kind of about you. But do you guys see what I mean? Like, it's not just like, hi, we're Fast Track. It's trying to be intriguing there. And then, so like I was saying, it's the right kind of formatting where there's the headline there and then a little bit about you. I would move that a little bit about you lower down. This why choose is in a good place. And sorry, I was looking at my notes too. Overall, where you are placing things is good. It's just the wording would need to add personality and be more interesting, and I think personality is like the biggest key. But have you guys done any work around what your brand personality would be?
Yeah, we're definitely in the process of that. It's just mostly been focusing on our launch right now, because I know within the future of us getting our website out, we can just speak to somebody like you.
Yeah. Okay. So if anyone wants to know like kind of how you should lay it out, then you can kind of look at their template to see like how it flows. But that's more so like the wireframing, like the design aspect, not rather than the words.
Yeah, definitely.
Does anyone else want to volunteer their website? Or can I start picking from the list?
Remember, guys, we can't see you right now, so just unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hey. So my website's not up, but I'm super upset that you can't look at it. Can I email you when it's up? But this is going to be in like a month or so.
Yeah.
If that's okay, can we? Because I really think this is so awesome. You're amazing.
Yeah, I think you guys should also like share them with each other though. Like a lot of it comes down to getting feedback from people who are your ideal client too. Yeah, I'm available for questions. Okay, I'm gonna start picking through the list though if everyone's shy. Okay, Christine, I'm gonna start with you because I had some notes for yours, and yours is a good example of what to do with like services and simplifying.
Okay, thank you.
So first of all, when we land on your page, we don't really know where we are. You don't have an introduction. It just gets into like the blog post. So we don't know who you are. We don't know what you can do for us. We don't know like any information because it's just going to the blog. So you need to make sure that you have that above the, I'm using my hands as if you guys can see me. When can we go back to real life where we can show up in person? We want that above the fold to be very clear about what they're getting from you and engaging, and then you can put the blog post lower down. So above the folding, what they're getting, and then you would have a little blurb like about you there maybe, and then you could put some feature blog posts there, maybe a content opt-in, and then kind of work them down the page that way rather than just putting all your blog posts, because this can kind of be overwhelming if they're not looking for blogs, they're just looking to hire you. The other when I was looking on my desktop, not my laptop, there was ads showing up, but they're not showing up here. Do you have them all the, like, do you know why?
Well, I'm still trying to figure out how website work because I made this website myself, so maybe I need to hire Oma for it.
Yeah, so the only thing with the ads is I would suggest not putting ads on like a business website because it, like, you should just be making money from your business, not from them clicking to make a Squarespace website. So it kind of,
Hey Jill,
yeah.
do you have ad block turned on your laptop?
I shouldn't have anything, like I have the exact same settings on both. Like I can kind of swap between the two.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's it. But anyways, I saw that on the one. So if I would check into that and maybe remove the ads from there. Affiliate links that are related to your business are great. So for example, if you look at my website and you scroll to the bottom, there's a business tools page that's linked in the footer. And that is all of the business tools that I'm using because clients are asking me that all the time and students ask me that all the time. So it's relevant and I still get a bit of a commission from it, but it's not front and center distracting from the message that I'm trying to sell my own services. The other thing is that on your services page, so this is an example I wanted to give you guys. I mentioned a little bit the buying process. So when someone lands on your website, what are they going to do next? Are they going to, sorry?
There's the ad now, I can see.
Yeah, so this is like distracting because you're not a life coach. And you want to get to this part first. So when people come to your website, you want to make it really simple. If they're confused, they're going to click away. Confused people don't buy. And also think of where they're going to go and what they need to know at each stage to make them do the next thing. So for someone who's offering services like this, you might not want to have this much information on your website. You can see another ad is distracting from your copy again. This much information can overwhelm people when they're brand new to you. And you have to assume that people on your website are brand new for the most part. Instead, what I recommend for people that have services is you focus on the benefits of them working with you and like the experience, tell them like what your expertise is, why you can do this, and list out the different types of things that you offer. Unless you have like a single offer, like one or two offers that are very clear, when you have multiple different services like you or like me, then we want to make it really simple. I just kind of list them out and then I encourage them to reach out to me. And once they reach out to me, they get an email back automatically that is a PDF that has all of those details in it with prices in it and how they can book and what the next step is and a link to book a call with me, that free call that I saw you have one too. So this way it's like they get a little bit at first, enough that they're interested, they reach out, then they get the next information immediately that they are to keep them interested and give them answer all of those common questions. So it saves me a lot of time emailing as well because that PDF answers like every question that I could possibly get. And then it also helps screen because there are prices listed there that are starting points so that I know that I'm not getting on calls with people that might not be a good fit for the done for you. And instead, if like I have a different discovery call link for students that want to enroll in the courses as well. So it's kind of like separates so I know what to expect when I'm getting on the call with them, what type of client or student they're going to be. And it makes it so that they don't get confused. And that is especially helpful if you have a couple different types of people. So if you look at my website, I have work with Jill or learn with Jill. And the work with is the done for you and the learn with is like consulting and stuff like this, or links to my courses, so that they are only getting the information they need at each point in the buying process. So if we look at yours here, you are explaining a lot about you, which is good. You just want to switch it to be like why that benefits them. So you help them reach their goals. Less than, instead of I am a goal-oriented visionary. You help them reach their goals and you help them embrace change. And then you can explain what is life coaching. You can maybe even make a blog post about this instead, because it then you can be more strategic with your SEO without distracting from making the sale. And you can link to it there. I'm just gonna pull up my website here for an example for you guys. And you can use blog posts in your, oh, that was weird. You can use blog posts in your design. I have what's copy versus content linked right here, and that is one of my most popular blog posts because then it helps explain the difference in the prices when they're coming to work with me for these different things. So you could do something like that that explains in more detail, and then that blog gets more SEO traffic than my sales page does. Then all of these could be summarized into like single points, like bulleted list. Like maybe you have trouble with work-life balance, or maybe you have a career dilemma. You also might want to play around with like focusing on that one person. Like, can you try to specialize in just one aspect first and see if you get to all of those people that are struggling with confidence? And parts of that could be they don't have a work-life balance and they don't know what they want to do with their career, but maybe the confidence is the key issue. And that comes from listening to your clients and asking your ideal clients like what they actually need and what their problems are. And just trying to summarize and simplify. And then when you get down here, all of these different packages, you could just say like everyone gets a complimentary discovery call, whatever you call it, just a discovery session. And then you could like list that you have different kinds of packages for different types of people or like different intensities, somehow summarize it. And then all of this would be in that PDF that they get afterwards. Because when I'm scrolling through this, I'm like, well, I don't know which one I want. And I'm not going to book it right away because I don't know who you are. But if you guide them through, then it's also kind of a lot easier to make sales when you're on calls, when it's something that's personal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions?
A lot of questions. I'm going to take in because it's a good thing that Dave's always recorded. I'm going to go back and make more notes. And I'm sure I will have more questions. And then if you don't mind, I will go after you after that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to go to the next one.
Thank you.
Okay, the Hot Sauce Co. I liked, is he here? Is Jesse here?
Yes, he's away this week in Alberta. So.
Darn. Okay, well, I just wanted to show you guys.
He will be watching this video afterwards. So if you have notes for him, that's awesome.
It was just a couple that I wanted to show people kind of like the right idea. Hot Sauce Co. like front and center. Again, it's about the business, not the people. So I would move that down or just put a logo in the corner, right? It doesn't need to be that big. But there's no fancy names, no gimmicks. That would be a great headline up there if that's what the ideal client wants from the hot sauce. So if he just moved that up and put a sub headline in there and then kind of explained what it was, then that would be great. The my story part as well, you guys have to be careful with saying my story when people don't know who me is, like who is speaking here. And that's what I was talking about, the I versus we, and just making it really clear. Like obviously it's the founder, but we don't know that until the end. So there needs to be some sort of introduction here. I'll give you an example so you can see. When you click to my website, this never stress about what to say ever again. I came up with that line because I interviewed so many people. Andre was one of them, asking them what their stresses were about writing copy and making sales online. And they always said, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It stresses me out. So that became my headline. There's a system to selling your brand story online because like, this is what I do. And I make people realize that you can learn how to do it. Even though people think it's really creative, I think copy is more of a science than an art form. And of course there's a creative aspect to it, but that summarizes what I do and then kind of introduces all of it. And then this is the current offer here. And then it gets into this. So people know who is speaking immediately. Hey, I'm Jill. They get a bit about me. And then it goes into the services so that they get split off into those two target clients, either the DIY or done for you. just so you can see kind of the flow of that, but make it really clear of who is talking. And if it's the business talking, that is okay too. You can say, we are whatever your business name is, and we do this, but give like that really quick intro here, and then save the rest of your bio for your about page. Because like again, this is a little bit long. If you just put one little thing here, or maybe break it up with a photo so people can see who's speaking, a team photo. Let me go to the next one here. Is Soul Runners here? Kristen?
She is. She's not here today as well. I know. She had a meeting that she had to attend with one of her clients. So
that's okay. I'll just keep giving like quick tips, because I think it's helpful for everybody if you kind of see what's working and not working.
Yes.
So it's good that her logo is up here and her navigation is really simple. This book now at the top is a little awkward with where it's placed. I would, if you wanted it to be at the top, maybe make it a full banner across the top there, rather than just like an awkwardly kind of placed button. If it was, can you see my mouse? So if it were like that full on banner all the way there to like draw attention to it, rather than that. The other thing is these sliding banners are kind of confusing, because you're just asking a lot from people and they're like trying to read it really quickly, and it's just a lot of information to be right here. Instead, you would want to simplify. Again, just there's a lot going on. So what is that main benefit? What is that main thing that people want from you? Make that your headline up here, make it simple, put a subhead, and then get into the other stuff. And then it's kind of like the services page of Christine's website. There's just a lot of information here. So figuring out how you can streamline it, make the homepage really simple, direct people to where they need to go, like rather than having all of the options here and just like booking like this. That was pretty much it for that one. So everyone needs to simplify a bit. Does anyone want to volunteer themselves now so that I don't keep picking people who aren't here?
Come on, somebody wants to go.
Yeah, let's do. Are you okay to do taxably?
Yeah, I tried to look at yours, but I couldn't find, like I said, the website wasn't working.
No way.
Is it Taxably Canada?
Yes.
.ca?
No, it's taxably.ca.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that happened.
Well,
Oh, okay. Maybe my firewall just didn't like it when I was looking at these this morning. Okay. Are you guys having luck with these pop-up chats?
not so much. I've heard that it's a little annoying because it's too big. Comes to like almost 1/3 of the page.
I just noticed that a lot of your, like a few of your websites have them, and I've heard very mixed reviews about them because people, again, it feels like salesy. But it kind of depends on the business, right? So I couldn't give like a blanket statement, good or not. I was just kind of curious and taking a tally of if it's working.
Based off the current study that I did, I think it's better to offer, instead of a service, it's better to offer the help. Like, you know, we're here if you need anything, rather than like book your first blah 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 and have it cover up 30% of the page.
Okay. Yeah.
So Swaraj, I can meet with you after, and I can show you the one that we use, how it's really like small and helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I would be concerned about. But if you found the perfect solution, that's good. Okay, so your navigation is pretty simple, so that's good. What are these all going to tell me? I would almost simplify this even. Like instead of having rotating, and I know maybe not all designers would agree with me, but I think that if you can simplify it into just one message, I'd also be curious about the speed of it loading a video like that, or not a video, like a banner like that with all the moving text. If you put it into like an SEO plugin to see how fast it's loading, especially on mobile.
One thing I definitely want to say is a lot of my clients, when they need websites, they say like, oh, I want like a bunch of pictures on a banner. I say, you know, it's better just to have one, because that's what's going to make the clients remember you the most, is when they read the first thing that they see.
Mm-hmm. Like this, I have to kind of wait to read it. People don't like to wait either. So if you can choose what that one key benefit is that they're getting, make it the headline. You could put the other ones in the subhead. Yeah, it's good to have a call to action up there too. Some people have been using, instead of like buying right away on the top here, making it like a free opt-in of some kind. To at least get them into your funnel. So you can experiment with that. Right. I have to keep moving around my bubble of all of your faces so I can see the screen. Okay, these are pretty simple. Be careful with your grammar here. Some of them have periods and some of them don't.
Right. Okay.
And also, I know it's taxes, but have you thought about like what you want the personality to be?
Kind of. Was thinking more of. Do you have any ideas?
I always like to make businesses that are typically not fun be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So just like switching up the copy a little bit to be a little bit more conversational and tell a bit of a story and just have like a little bit more fun with it. But it depends on what your ideal client is, of course, as well. So if you're doing something like Taxably, are you trying to, is it like TurboTax?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So would you be then targeting like the younger generation that, yeah. So I would do some digging, maybe talk to some people and see like how much fun they could handle, because you can put little bits into the copy that kind of separates you from TurboTax.
Okay.
By focusing on your personality before you even get to it. And then it just makes it like more engaging, but you don't have to do this, of course. Like it's hard to decide your brand personality for you in just a couple of minutes of looking at your website, but just something to think about to further position yourself from TurboTax, which is already pretty established, right?
Right.
How it works is good. People like frameworks. They like, it helps them understand. So this is good how you have it here. I would, again, make sure that it's not slowing down your page load time, especially on mobile. Another thing that's like being nitty gritty with the copy is, do you see how this last one has 2 lines, but the other ones only have 1 line, three words?
Yeah.
If you can make it all the same.
Yes.
Play around with the wording to try to make it the exact same so that it's even.
Yeah.
Swaraj, one thing I would say, just from a designer's point, I would make the text at the bottom black so that it's got variety. I just see too much green.
The fill the form, let us prepare that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See, this is where showing each other your websites is helpful, because then everyone can pick up on different things, especially if you are trying to, like if you know one person in your cohort is very similar to your ideal client, ask them questions. Mm-hmm. And you can reach out to people who are your ideal client and ask them for feedback. When I was doing all of my research, I asked for 20 minutes and I offered 20 minutes of free consulting as well. So I know that setup doesn't work for everyone, but then it got a lot of people engaged and I got so many great things. Now I use their exact words in my copy.
Yeah, actually, one thing that really makes the page stand out right there is where Jill is exactly scrolled at, where it says "Let's plant some trees," and you've got a nice video button played there. It's really intriguing, actually, to me.
Thanks.
Okay, this is an interesting positioning point that I'm curious if it could be stressed sooner.
Okay.
Like, especially if you were trying to target millennials who want to save the trees, like put that front and center, make that like a big part of your brand. You could put it up in the headline for every what is it, every
Yeah, for every.
so if you can make that part of the headline, like taxes made easy for every return, 1 tree planted. Like that's
Yeah,
part
definitely.
of your that's part of your value proposition, I think, if you are targeting that person.
Yeah.
I know that we're almost at time here. So does anyone have any questions? Based on what I was talking about before, or based on any of the websites that we went through? Are you overwhelmed? Do you feel like you learned something?
Thank you for the feedback.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks, Jill. It's very, very helpful and very practical, and just need someone to kick my ass and tell me that's wrong. I know it's wrong, but gotta get going with it.
Okay, nothing wrong with being wrong. There's nothing wrong with failing. Failing is really good when you're new in business because you just learn something every single time, right? So it just comes from like implementing the changes. But I know that you guys can make those changes like today if you have time. It doesn't have to be perfect right away.
Any other questions for Jill, guys? How about for our call-ins from Charlene and Tyler?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I don't know because I'm using my phone if you can hear me or not. What, like everybody's making their own websites. What would you suggest platform to make your own website on? If you want to, I have books that I've written and they're in chapters and stuff. So I'd want to like be able to sell them myself as well, as opposed to have them in stores.
Yeah.
So a website that has that component.
Squarespace, 100% Squarespace, because if you're building it yourself, Wix and Squarespace and Showit are all pretty easy. I've tried Wix because I'm a total weirdo and I'm really into my business. So I made my wedding website on Wix so that I could say that I've used both and like, of course, made my wedding be related to my business somehow. And Wix is a lot, like it's not as intuitive, I find, but lots of people gravitate to that when they're brand new. And you can also you can spot a Wix website because you don't have as much flexibility with it. But if you use Squarespace, your side building it is a lot easier. The help center is so good. That's how I made my website for the first couple of years. I just hired someone to design it for me last summer. So you don't need to have all of it right away. That's where like a lot of the DIY stuff comes in. You could even take like courses or buy a template. Squarespace templates are really good. You don't need the full e-commerce shop if you only have a couple products, because I just have, I think, just the business level Squarespace, but I have a few products that are sold on there that are digital downloads. And then if you wanted to upgrade from that, there's Showit, which is a WordPress platform that lots of people like, but Squarespace and Showit have the most flexibility to grow with as well, because you can still hire designers who can make it not look like a Squarespace website by adding in some custom code and stuff whenever you're ready. And Squarespace is more affordable than Showit. Of course, if you like, it depends on the type of business. Like for Taxably, you probably need a whole entire custom website if people are going to be like filing on there, if that makes sense. But if you're just like Christine, yours could be Squarespace if you're not already using it.
I'm using WordPress.
You're using WordPress? Well, good for you, because that is terrifying as a non-designer.
WordPress is actually really great for e-commerce platform because they offer a lot of customer feedback,
Yeah.
inventory, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it just depends on the cost and how much you want to learn about design. I did not want to learn very much about how, like, I know it looks good, I can spot stuff, but the whole like actually creating it from scratch thing, my designer says that I do okay. I don't agree with her. But
Yeah,
I
can.
have a diagram I use for learning curves with, are you a non-web designer? That's, yeah. Omar, easy for you to say that WordPress is the best, but yeah, if you have no design background, it can be quite confusing, that's for sure.
Yeah, so of the drag and drop websites, Wix is the lowest, Squarespace, and then Showit is more expensive, but they're all drag and drop versions. So.
Yeah, actually, Squarespace is a wonderful platform because even though it's not as personalized as something like WordPress, it's actually a great platform for you to use because you can actually choose from like thousands of templates and all that kind of stuff personalized to your business.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Charlene, was there any other follow-ups?
No, those are all the questions that I had. Thanks so much. It was really great.
Awesome. Thank you, Charlene. Jill, this is, I want you to plug yourself now for your business. Like, if anybody here is thinking, okay, well, I've been introduced to how maybe not so perfect my copy is, and maybe I want to generate more leads and have better copy that converts. And this is the time for you to tell them how they can get in touch with you.
I get to plug. So there are 2 ways to work with me. Of course, my website is wordsbyjill.com. I hang out on Instagram too a lot at wordsbyjill. But the 2 ways to work with me are Done For You or becoming a student in one of my courses. And it kind of depends on just what your budget is and what you prefer. So usually if you're brand new, I recommend that people go through the courses instead, because you are going to pivot a lot over the next little bit, that it's good for you to have that foundational skill. And then once you know that your services are going to stay the same and you're pretty solid in like the business side, then come to the Done For You aspect. So lots of people actually like work through the course first and then move over to work with me one-on-one. My signature course is called Client Attraction Academy, and it guides you through the exact process that you would get if you are working with me with a brand strategy and website copy process. It's just you do it yourself instead of me doing it for you. So that would probably be the best spot for you starting out. There are like a couple other little products if you click over to the shop, but Client Attraction Academy is the best one that Andre was part of my market research to help create. And the courses are based off of like workshops that I do in person and all of that. So it's really good. And there's a good group of entrepreneurs in there. We have a private group where we do virtual co-working and answer questions, and we get feedback from each other. And I do like additional trainings when they have sticky spots. Like today I'm going to record something of how to find your niche, because some people are getting stuck on how to niche down with their ideal clients. So yeah, if you want to check that out, it's all on my website.
Awesome. Thanks, Jill. And are you okay if I share your email address with everybody so they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, it's on my website too. So public information.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Jill. I was so excited to ask you to be here, and I'm so excited that you were able to carve out the time. I know you're very busy, but I also it's cool that I met you a long time ago and have seen you scale your business. That's like amazing. So I think everyone here, including myself, have a lot to learn from you. And yeah, I really, really appreciate it. We all appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for asking me.
Thanks. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, just wanted to say thank you, and I'll wave a goodbye again to you.
Yeah, we'd like to do a nice Leap Junction wave.
Bye guys. Have a good day.
Thanks a lot, Jill. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us. Awesome. I think that was really well. Everybody learned something? Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Is everyone starting to realize how important copy is?
Yeah. Knew it years ago.
actually considered, outsourcing part of this, like it already?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I just have a question. Like, I mean, because yeah, she was saying like thousands of dollars. Do you have like, I guess like a recommendation on how? Because like, there's like, for example, you can go on Fiverr, but then you don't know who you're getting. Like, is there like a happy medium where you can get good copy at like somewhat of a better price for someone who's starting?
Yeah, for sure. There's lots of options for copywriting out there. It's just it just depends on the value of your work. It's like anything, like levels of professionals are going to charge different fees, and
Yeah.
some may have a certain niche that they're better at, and they charge more of a premium.
Yeah.
I think when you're thinking of hiring somebody for this, you need to really vet this carefully. You want to make sure that they have experience in a lookalike industry, and you want to be able to see some of their work before and talks. If you're going to hire somebody, make sure you ask, okay, like what was the outcome of your work? Did it lead to, if you're looking to get more conversions on your website, did it lead to more conversions? Did they, and that's going to depend on how well their client measured it. But if you can at least get some statistics that back up their work, you have to be careful with this kind of stuff because there are a lot of scammers out there. That's why we wanted to bring in someone like Jill that is a professional, that has proven herself. Because if you go out to something like you said, Chris, like Fiverr, you got to be really careful because there's lots of people on Fiverr offering copywriting for literally, pennies on the dollar. So,
Yeah. And it's weird on Fiverr that like I find like even for like design, like you could find someone who's like it's not even about the price. You just never know because you could find it's weird. Like yeah, you could find someone who's cheaper who's like good, or like you really have to like check their work and portfolio first.
This is why I think Jill talked about what she does as an investment, and I think this is a great time to remember that what you pay for is what you get.
That's
So
right.
Yeah.
I understand that everyone here is a new business and money is tight and whatever, but the core aspects of your business, this copywriting, your website, your design, all that stuff, it's just, that's what you have to do. You have to spend money on this stuff. If you are in this for the long haul, these are investments that are worth making. You can try and cut corners elsewhere, but there's no sense in paying somebody on Fiverr, going through the headache of trying to make it work and then ending up hiring somebody like Jill anyway.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you're like, for you, Chris, like let's say you wanted to buy, like you need a sewing machine or you need manufacturing to make your collars, right? Because without them, your business doesn't work. You don't have a product. Well, without good copy, without a great website, without all these things, you don't have customers. So if you're willing to invest a bunch of money in a piece of equipment or manufacturing, you should be willing to invest money in this side of it as well. And a lot of people, it's like Jill said, people think of her as an afterthought, but this is just as important as all those other things, because a lot of people just don't put the focus there because they think words are just words. But the truth is, businesses that do this stuff really well, they make money. So I think you need to think about that and be careful. I'm definitely not a big believer in Fiverr. Just want to put that out there. Upwork is a far better platform because if you're going to go that route, people are vetted a little bit better. Fiverr is more like the Kijiji of freelancers. So just be careful. That's my 2 cents. I want to give everybody a quick break. Let's take 5 and take a little bio break. And then we'll come back for skill sharing with Aaron, Omar, and Kelly.